Welcome, everybody, to episode 2 of the Nighttime Fire podcast. My name is Thomas Hampton.
My name is Lucas Freeman.
My name is Bailey Barnhill.
And we're just so excited. Today has been an absolutely jam-packed day. And so we're not going to hold you up any longer. We're going to get into something that we had a little bit of trouble with before the day began. And that was Trey Foshie's power rankings. So I'm just going to pull up Trey's power rankings by themselves, and then in a second I'll put them side by side with the Day 2 final win-loss rankings. So he put David up top, Drew, Miles, Lucas, Bailey, Trey, Bryce, Ben, Quinn, me, Zunyon. All right. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put them side by side with the win-loss. I don't understand how Trey thinks that he's number 6 after 2 days, given that he's 7th in the league and hasn't really been performing well. That's my biggest, fault with Trey's power rankings. He ranked me at number 10, which I understand him doing that. I think Trey was a little salty, but do you guys have any specific views on whether or not Trey is a good power ranking decision maker?
I think like you said, just the main gripe is him overrating himself. Every other player, I think, was give or take within like one spot of their actual win-loss percentage, I want to say, other than Zunyon, who obviously plummeted for reasons we know.
Right.
But it was very interesting that he had so much confidence in himself to put himself over someone with better win-loss records like who did he have a better one? He had Ben. No, he had worse than Ben.
So it was Bryce. He switched
Bryce.
him and Bryce.
Yeah, so I don't know what gave him that amount of confidence, but obviously, as we saw today, it wasn't exactly deserving. But we'll get to that.
Yeah. So any comments from you, Bailey, or are we good to move on?
I just wish I could go back to that pristine 9-7 record. The glory days.
Yeah. So should we go ahead and pull up your current ranking so they can see what you're talking about?
No. We can wait. We can wait. I was just gonna say I wasn't making too much of a fuss over those power rankings. I knew it was just 2 days in. And as we can see by today, a lot can change, so I wasn't really too concerned about them.
I got you. Well, we'll go ahead and pull up these day-over-day rankings, looking at Day 3, and then how our positions change in comparison to Day 2. So it looks like Bryce definitely had the biggest overall win on the day. So do we want to talk about that a little bit, or I guess we'll wait to talk about that when you really go over that one at the end, Bailey. But Bryce definitely had a really good day. Zunyon had another terrible day. You see Bailey down there taking a down 6, but I think Zunyon's down 4 is something we really do have to talk about right here because we don't talk about him much later on. But Zunyon came in proud and confident, dropping Curry, and then went. He got swept by David, right?
Yeah, that was the first sweep ever at the time.
And so, needless to say, I think what we thought about Zunyon was completely accurate, and Zunyon's completely delusional. So,
and I just want to bring up that he still thinks he has the best team, which is very concerning for his mental health.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and he thinks that he can do something to recoup from where he's at. I think he's done. I don't think there's a chance. I think he's headed to the bottom, and I think he's going to dye his hair pink soon. So.
Yeah, I don't think there's much hope for him.
Right.
You hate to see it. You hate to see this. You go do this to a man, but he had what coming to him.
Right, and so to take another look, we're going to take a look at that win-loss trend. And so what I really like about this is it really gives you an idea of who had a good day, who had a bad day. Not necessarily in how it affected their rank, because somebody might be number 1 and sweep somebody, and they could be listed as a 0% change because they were already at a really high win-loss ratio. But this shows Bryce having a really good day. David going ahead and taking over that number 1 spot overall. You see Ben, who had a pretty good day and a pretty good bout up against Quinn. So it really shows like, hey, even though Ben's still like, kind of on the mid range, Ben's a good team and Ben's coming for it. And so me and Lucas finally had some positive days.
About time.
And so I think we were excited, and we'll move on down to how Bailey feels when we get down there. But one person we wanted to bring along today, and let me go ahead and shoot him a call real quick. Hey, David, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. What's up, guys?
Hey, you doing all right today? Are you hanging in there?
Barely.
Barely?
Considering everything that's happened.
Yeah, so we really want to hear about this, and I'll go ahead and pull it up. We've got this sweep action today. Can you give us a little info on that? Tell us how you're feeling.
Well, yeah. First, I want to say in this podcast, one of us knows how it feels to sweep, and one of us knows how it feels to be swept.
Oh man!
All right, man.
Dang.
All right, man. You don't have to come in like that. Just
I'm just trying to tell the truth here. I'm trying to bring truth to the podcast. But yeah, no, I swept Zunyon, but not really surprised that it happened considering yesterday's events.
Yeah. Do you feel like Zunyon was overconfident, and how do you think that played out in his free agency period?
I don't feel that Zunyon was overconfident. I know he's overconfident.
Oh, okay.
That's just, I mean, anyone that's talked to the guy post-draft, even actually pre-draft, actually at any point in his existence, you can tell he's a little overconfident. But especially after that, first round where, you guys talked about it yesterday. We don't need to go through it again. We all know what happened in the first round. And then he's been on a plummet ever since. So, his overconfidence is the death of him right now, because he thinks that somehow by creating the lineup that he's created, that he can somehow beat actually legit lineups. So, that's what he gets.
Yeah. Gosh. So, with that in mind, you traded with Zunyon. Let's talk about this Ben Simmons trade. Tell me about that.
Yeah, actually, before we go into all these trades, can I actually give you a legit rundown of how all the trades happened?
Yeah, I would love that.
Behind the scenes.
So I have timestamps. Okay. So at 1:11 p.m., I texted Zunyon to trade T-Mac for Ben Simmons. Then within that same minute, he asked for time to quote-unquote run some calculations.
of course.
Classic.
At 1:47, I offered Lucas T-Mac for Larry Bird. At 1:49, Lucas rejected the offer. 10 minutes later, I gave him a 2-for-2 offer. At 2:01, Lucas established that he doesn't want T-Mac. 2 minutes later, I offered him Joakim Noah and Kevin Garnett for AK-47 and Bill Walton. At 2:06, I asked Trey about Nikola Jokic. At 2:08, Lucas counter-offers AK-47 and Larry Bird for Kevin Garnett and Pippen, and I agreed to that deal. At 2:10, Trey said he'll trade me Jokic for Dr. J. 1 minute later, I accepted, and at 2:14, Zunyon accepted my T-Mac offer for Ben Simmons. So in the span of 6 minutes, I had 3 trades accepted. I just want everyone to know that.
Oh my gosh. So tell me, what are you gaining in Ben Simmons that's worth giving up Tracy McGrady?
I don't know if I want to disclose all the information.
Okay. You're just gonna come on my podcast and you're gonna talk all this smack about these 6 minutes of good trading, but there's no rhyme or reason to it. I just I picked names out of a hat real quick.
Okay,
It's okay. You're a fraud. We get it.
No.
Okay, yeah, that's why I'm in first place, but that's neither here nor there. Okay. So my logic with Ben Simmons for Tracy McGrady was that I saw in my team, even though I was winning games, that I could not find a lineup that I felt comfortable with when it comes to winning in the playoffs. Okay. So I decided, okay, I have too many players that are kind of up and down in their shot attempts. So, for example, McGrady, one game, 29 shot attempts, the next game, 12. Okay, I cannot have that sort of drop-off and feel comfortable about my team. So I decided to trade away a high-usage guy for Ben Simmons player who I feel more is a higher assist percentage, maybe a somewhat high usage, but he won't steal shots away from players the way T-Mac would, or he won't disappear. I think he'll stay leveled is my point.
Okay, that makes sense. Now let's move on to trade number 2 with Foch. So Dr. J for Jokic.
Yeah, so I heard you guys yesterday make fun of Jokic, not Jokic, but Trey for drafting Jokic in the second round.
Yeah, 100%. We definitely did make fun of him.
And we stand by it.
Fun of.
Bad decision overall.
Me personally, I actually think it was an amazing pick.
Second round?
I would have drafted Jokic in the second round. I would have. Now, but that's irrelevant at this point because he was drafted by Trey, and I noticed that Trey pretty much had stopped playing him, which was interesting to me because I feel like Jokic is kind of a perfect player for this simulation. So I decided to go in and offer something for Jokic, and then he came back to me with Dr. J, who again is another high usage guy who I was not comfortable with, and I decided to pull the trigger on it when he said he wanted Dr. J, and so that's why we did that trade, and I feel amazing about it.
Okay, now trade number 3 with Lucas, and both of y'all talk about this. Tell me what goes on.
Yeah, okay, Lucas. Let me just say this right now. I think that you got wrecked by this trade, and I don't think.
Okay, kick him out. Kick him out.
No, I don't see how your team recovers. First of all, can I just tell you guys that again, one of the offers was Joakim Noah and Kevin Garnett for AK-47 and Bill Walton. Okay, that trade I feel like definitely helps Lucas. But what does Lucas do? He decides to come back to me. He offers me the player I originally wanted. He gives me AK-47. He picks up a Kevin Garnett who's been really inconsistent. And then he adds Scottie Pippen, the player that broke his heart just one day ago with the wide open layup.
But look, that's exactly why. If you listened to the podcast last night, we discussed that Scottie Pippen probably has the biggest brain in this league right now.
He's past the simulation.
No, see, here's the thing. You guys think that, but as the commissioner of this league, I know things that you don't know. And I'm going to tell you something, Lucas.
You just openly admitted to collusion. Openly on this podcast. Oh my gosh. This entire league is fraudulent. The whole league.
No. David.
Yes?
You just talked about the fact that you have insider information. This is the insider trading of NBA simulation basketball.
What I know. What I was going to say is I know Scottie Pippen's performance when I simulated against Zunyon. That is what I was going to say before you guys freaked out, like the way you freaked out over my Larry Bird for MJ trade.
Yeah, that's a good cover-up, bro.
Yeah, it is a good cover-up. Thank you. But Scottie Pippen, not the player I thought he was. And Lucas, I'm sorry, man. I think you've choked so hard in so many different ways when it comes to this league.
Wow.
Not only against Zunyon, but you could have had Steph Curry, and you were scared. Were you not?
David. You come to my podcast on the day of Lucas's first non-4-4 tie, and you disrespect him like that.
Mr. 4-4, sorry.
All right, David. We appreciate your time here. We appreciate you being the commissioner, but we need you to head on out. We appreciate the time, and you have a great day. All right.
Exit stage left.
Yep, first place.
That was unbelievable.
Openly admitting to fraudulent behavior.
Oh my
What do we do with this information here? Now, what do we do with this?
We have the title for the podcast.
Commissioner admits to collusion.
I just cannot believe it.
Oh, well, we gotta push forward. I mean, it is what it is, but I'm going to go ahead and kick us off with Trey Foshee versus Thomas Hampton. What I think was honestly a really high-tension matchup of the day, given the trash talk on both ends yesterday. So, do you guys recall what Trey said the outcome of that game was going to be, of that matchup?
6-2.
6-2 in Trey's favor. I mean, I called 5-3. We're both confident. Neither of us are going to say, I'm going to lose this matchup, and nobody's going to say I'm going to tie. But I think 6-2 it's a little much. I mean, that's saying you're outright destroying the other person. I mean, 5-3 is it was close. 6-2 is like that series was mine. You didn't stand a chance. And so I feel like I respected Trey a little more in my prediction, and then I come out and I tie him dead even. We go into the fifth game, and Trey is up 4-0 on me, and he has a 48-point differential. I have to win the next 4 games by an average of 12 points. And I go 122 and 114. It's an 8-point differential. I go 105 and 194. That's an 11-point differential. I go 117 and 100. That's the big boy right there. That's a 17-point differential, which puts me 12 points away from winning a tiebreaker. Or I guess 12 would tie, 13 would win. And I'm playing away. And I come in clutch with a 114 to 102. Tie it dead even. I don't know about you guys, but that's a win in my book.
Yeah, and it's just the way it happened is why you got to consider it a win. Like, Trey had it in the bag, or so he thought, at 4-0, and just to lose that many in a row has got to be devastating.
It just... My biggest deal is Trey talked mad trash, saying he said he had a lineup that was guaranteed to sweep me. He had a lineup that was guaranteed to sweep me. He said afterwards that that's not the lineup that he used. I'm not too sure about that one. But 4-4 split with that level of confidence, I don't know what's going on with that, but I was shaken. And so now we got to talk about the matchup following that, which is Lucas versus Trey. Tell us a little about that.
Well, this is a big matchup for both of us. Trey was reeling after his choke against you, and I had yet to get a win in the series, not on point differential. So I was kind of a little anxious. Kind of could have used a 5-3 or a 6-2.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I got. I got a 5-3. And I actually went up 5-1, but he won the last 2. We'll say we gave it to him because he needed it really badly.
Right.
And yeah, so I won it quite convincingly. I think my margin was 60 or so.
It was 54.
50 or 4. And I'm very happy with the way we defeated Mr. Foshee, and I think we can build on this momentum going forward.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like taking on the guy that's put in the power rankings. I mean, I think he definitely respected your team, but I don't think he respected it enough. Like, I think Trey would have said that he would have beaten you in this matchup or tied you, and then you take him 5-3 with a 54-point differential. That's big. So,
yeah, on his first take, he called 5-3 for himself. And last night, I called 5-3 for myself, and this is just proof that Nighttime Fire is a more accurate analysis podcast than First Take. But
I agree 100%. And moving on, we've got another really interesting matchup, and I know you don't want to talk about it, but we have to. Bailey Barnhill versus Bryce Wade.
Look, man.
All I see is a red line and a green line. I don't see any checkerboard.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I am deep in the depths of despair. I am wallowing in the emotional pit of my sorrow. I am just going through it, you know. Bryce swept me. I didn't get a single game off of him.
Yeah.
And to make it worse, 3 of the games in the series, Bryce won off 1 possession. There were 3 game winners.
Yeah, there was the game-winning turnaround jumper by Rodman in Game 1.
By Dennis Rodman, of all people. A turnaround jumper to win the game.
Then we had double overtime in Game 2.
Mm-hmm.
Bryce blew you out game 4. Turnovers killed you in game 5. And the thumbnail behind us, tell us a little about this player in game 6, Bailey. Do you know a little about that?
Dwayne Wade just could not be stopped. I think he had 54 points.
That's it.
So obviously my defense was just non-existent. Might as well have put invisible players on the court. Yeah, I have no words for my performance today.
It's definitely a tough one, and so we'll move on and we'll talk about how you think you're going to bounce back this upcoming week. But we're gonna move into a specific quote from the Mr. Power Rankings, Trey Foshi. Benny Foshi III put out a comment in the Discord, and he said, "Me and Zunyon have done so many simulations, I'm almost sick of it." Now, I think Trey then proceeded to talk about how he thinks maybe the simulations aren't as valuable. What did we say last week, and how do you think it really reflects Trey's performance? Because we talked about how Trey runs far too many simulations and they don't matter.
Yeah, I think what we have seen on day 3 of the simulations, I think what we have seen is backed up what we've been saying, and I can actually say that I received a text from Zachary Runyon, First Take co-host, or many texts talking about how he runs so many simulations. He's run lineups against me that would sweep my team. And I'm just not going to buy it. Like, I just don't think they're worth as much. And when it's time, put your money where your mouth is. We see these guys suffer 5-3, 6-2, or even in Zunyon's case, a sweep.
A sweep. I can't get over it. I can't get over it. I'm putting that back on the screen real quick. A sweep. A sweep. You see that right there? That is a big green line for David and a big red line for Zunyon, and an 86-point differential. The closest Zunyon got in a game was 101 to 103 at home. I think that speaks for itself. So we're going to roll into Trey's power rankings for the end of day 3. And so the rankings go as follows. Miles at 1, Bryce at 2, David at 3, Lucas at 4, Drew at 5, Ben at 6, Trey at 7, Thomas at 8, Quinn at 9, Bailey at 10, Zunyon at 11. Are there any pieces you guys don't agree with by chance?
I think it's more or less pretty accurate. I think this is a big day for Miles, who I think was your guys' wild card. I think he really cemented himself today with that win over Drew.
Right.
But I think everything else that happened today was more or less expected, of course, other than Bryce and Bailey. But we won't discuss that again.
Right. It's definitely an interesting one. I mean, Drew down to 5. I mean, Drew's 4th in wins right now. So he put you over the top, and I think it's because you had your first day not tying, so I get that.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand my spot in here. I really have to prove my worth. I mean, I'm not going to claim that I'm some, like, crazy team out there, but I think I have playoff potential, and we'll see what happens over the next couple weeks. I still think Trey is a little overrated, if I'm being completely honest. And so, but I don't think that Zunyon's better than him. I don't know if Quinn's better than him. Can we talk about Quinn for a second? Quinn has Giannis and can't seem to do anything with that.
Yeah, and you got to wonder if he's even out there looking for a trade, because he has talent. He could get some pieces in return, I believe, and maybe make a team that's better suited to Giannis's talents, but he just hasn't seemed to try to do so yet. Yeah. And for now, he's just not doing much.
Right. So I think, yeah, I'd agree with them for the most part. Do you have any specifics you want to talk about, Bailey?
I just adding on to Quinn. I mean, he fixed the positions of his starting roster, but he still has some major usage problems. All of his players need a lot of touches on the ball. They need to get a lot of shots up. and I think he's losing a lot of potential by only playing them 48 minutes a game.
Yeah, definitely. So, last little bit before we head on out, we want some final thoughts. I want your best team, your wild card, and then your prediction for your game tomorrow. We're going to start with Bailey. Bailey, who's your best team?
Best team to make my potential series tomorrow, my potential loss tomorrow to look better. I'm going to say David.
Yeah.
You know, it's really hard to say that he's the best team though, because his team is completely different now after all these trades.
Right.
So it's really hard to like place a ranking on him. But I'm going to say he's the best team just because he knows a lot about the simulation. He knows a lot about basketball. There's definitely some reasoning behind these trades, I think. So I'm just going to give it the benefit of the doubt and say he's probably the best team right now.
All right. Who's your wild card?
Wild card. After today, I got to go Bryce.
Yeah.
I don't know where he came from, man, but he swept me. I was not expecting it. My team with Dwight Howard, Tim Duncan, and Dikembe Mutombo got out-rebounded several times today. Surprisingly. His team is very underrated, I feel like.
All right.
So he's my wild card. And my pick for tomorrow, I'm going to say that I'm going to get swept. So if I get one win, it'll look good.
That's good logic, though.
Oh my
That's
god.
good.
All right.
good.
All right. So, Lucas, best team?
Best team, I'm going to go with Miles. I'm just so surprised that he managed to go against conventional wisdom and build a team that you probably wouldn't think would be so successful, and yet here he is. And obviously much of that is attributed to Chico Chamberlain.
Right.
But even so, Hakeem's having big games, and he's just making it work. For wild card, I would say Bryce, but I don't know if I could call him a wild card considering how high he is on the win-loss ratio. He's like a top 2 team, so I don't know if that'd be fair.
Right.
I'd probably call Ben the wild card. I think he made a good free agency move. He won a series today against Quinn, and obviously he knows the simulation better than a lot of people. So I think he can keep climbing. And for my series tomorrow, I am against Quinn. As we discussed, Quinn's lineup has some major flaws.
Mm-hmm.
And despite his talent with Giannis, I think I will be able to win that series handily. I'll go 6-2.
Okay. I respect that. I would agree with that. I think 6-2. I think 6-2 is definitely doable. All right, and then I guess we'll finish off with me. I would say my best team right now. I'm gonna give that to Bryce. I would normally say David. There've been so many changes that I don't know how it's gonna play out for him. I know he's got a lot of knowledge, so I trust David in what he's doing. Do I like what he's doing? No, because I don't want him to win. Like, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it and act like I love David to death. But I don't know enough about David's team now to say that he's the best team. But I know what Bryce did today, so I would say Bryce is my best. I would agree with you, Lucas. I was going to say Ben is my wild card.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ben has a lot of potential and a lot of understanding of how this all works to make power moves, especially late in the season. So now that we're approaching the midway, I think there's a lot of potential. And then my game tomorrow, Bailey, you and I both play David tomorrow. If I can get Charles Barkley to play 40-plus minutes in most of my games, which let's take a note that Pau Gasol played more minutes than Charles Barkley today. I went 4-4 with Trey, and Pau Gasol played more minutes most of the time. Let's take a note. We've got 29-14. We've got 32-16. We have 30-18. We've got 24-17. We've got 31-14. Like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why Pau was playing that many minutes, but I went 4-4 against Trey, and Pau Gasol was playing over Charles Barkley. I think my team's better, and if I can keep that from happening, I think I've got some good potential. I say I win 2 games against David tomorrow. I'm going 2-6. 2-6 if Pau. 2-6 if Pau plays more minutes. I think I'm splitting it even if Charles Barkley plays the majority of the minutes. We'll say 36 plus.
And just to be fair to you guys both, our commissioner, he's cheating.
Yeah.
He's using inside information. So these losses that you guys have, if you look down the road in a couple of years, these losses will be voided, and his ring will mean nothing. So don't worry.
Right. So this is really just a 10-man league. So.
Yeah.
Or it's a 9-man league. Zunyon is a lost cause one way or the other.
Bless his heart.
Yeah. So, any final thoughts before we head on out?
It was a fun day in the sim. I can't wait to get back to it tomorrow.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be a good day. So I appreciate all of you for listening, however many of you it is. We're going to head on out, and we'll catch you in the podcast tomorrow. Bye.